Hello, everyone. We're doing a series of senior military leaders, but I just want to deviate a little bit from that. And because many people wrote to me and asked me what I thought about this article by a Marine veteran by the name of Ivan Snook, who proposes that enlisted should not become Marine officers. So they wanted my views on that, and I'm glad to share that with you. Um, they also wrote and said they like my beard. A lot of people haven't seen me with a beard, but once in a while I wear one. Some people have said I look like George Clooney, but who knows? Leave it in the comments if you think so. Nonetheless, Ivan Snook, and he's has a right to his opinion. Everybody does. So he believes that enlisted Marines should not become officers because they undermine the leadership of officers who come through the traditional routes of colleges and whatnot because of the meritocracy. And when an enlisted person becomes an officer, he tends to sort of undermine the regular officers. I don't see that at all. I was enlisted at one time in the Army, and I came through and, joined the Marine Corps and became a Marine officer. So I see it from both perspectives. But having served in the Marine Corps and primarily in the infantry units with former enlisted officers who we call Mustangs, and they're phenomenal. They're absolutely incredible individuals, and the main reason was because of their experiences and their maturity. And if you, especially in the infantry, if you got a former infantryman, enlisted Marine that became an officer, his experience level was very deep. He's almost like a gunner, So we already have that program. The gunners are invaluable to an infantry battalion, and similarly, the Marine Corps already has enlisted that are officers, non-commissioned officer, staff non-commissioned officer. So it's just, I think, a function of individual, how mature the person is. And that goes for both officers and on the enlisted side. We've seen a lot of immature second lieutenants that come in, and it takes time. We put them under the wing of a staff NCO, platoon sergeant, or a sergeant to groom them. And the same applies on the other side. Just because somebody is an enlisted Marine becomes an officer doesn't mean they don't need grooming as well. Of course they do. The reason I got to the level that I did was because of some phenomenal NCOs and staff NCOs and Marines as well. They all taught me something about myself and how to be a better leader and how to be a better tactician, how to employ weapons. When I first got to the Fleet Marine Force and 1st Battalion, 7th Marines, I didn't know anything. I had to rely upon my squad leaders to be able to do that. And they made me look good. They were successful because they knew the routes and whatnot. They knew how to train. So if an officer trusts his enlisted Marines, I think it's a great relationship. And it goes vice versa also. Just because somebody's an enlisted Mustanger doesn't mean he's going to be good or bad. It's just based on the individual. I just think that, based on the article that he wrote, that he believes it, and using his logic of what he's saying, Ivan, is, so where's the cutoff? I mean, so what's the pedigree that we're looking at? Do you have to go to an Ivy League college to be a Marine officer? Or is a state school good enough, using his logic? And do your parents need to be a millionaire, or do they need to be a billionaire for you to be a good officer? I don't know, So I think it's just a combination of the screening process that we have through OCS and TBS and the other schools that will weed out the bad ones and keep the good ones. So you got to have faith in the system, per se. And then also, when they get to their unit, the faith in their seniors that they will groom them in the right manner to become good officers. So I don't think it really matters if you're enlisted or not. At one time, when I first came in the Marine Corps, if you're a Naval Academy grad, you were considered to be cream of the crop. But then we saw, many Naval Academy grad lieutenants doing dumb things. So that kind of washed aside, So it all depends on the individual. I'm open for both personally to have officers, from the enlisted side and also from colleges, and also walk into OCS if you have the qualifications. Why not? Why shouldn't we represent our society And America is an egalitarian society where everybody's supposed to be equal. So the Marine Corps should be a representative of our society. So we shouldn't have these barriers, false barriers put up where if you come from a certain pedigree, then you can be an officer. And if you don't, from another pedigree, don't. And some great Marines, were former enlisted. Good example is Chesty Puller. He's a great example. That, 5 Navy crosses. So you can't really predict any of that stuff, right? There's no simple single formula that can tell you, if this guy is going to be a good officer or bad. You just don't know. So those are my views on this topic. I hope they were helpful. And stay rugged. Con out.